Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wealth Roundtable. I'm Sean Venable, and I have an awesome co-host with me tonight. So introduce yourself.
My name is Kiana Venable. I'm a recent graduate of UNC Chapel Hill with a bio major and a minor in chemistry.
Yes, and you'll take care of me one day. And we have here with us an amazing family friend of ours and someone we do business with and we trust, Mr. Todd Faulkner. So, Todd, you know the tradition. You've been on the show before. Introduce yourself by way of who you are, what you do, and how you add value.
Sure. Thank you so much for the invitation. I am Todd Faulkner. I have been in the Eastern Wake community for now almost 20 years. I've been with Farm Bureau for about 20 years, Farm Bureau Insurance. I have an agency in Nightdale that I work out of. And prior to Insurance World, I was a high school math teacher and coach. So I got a background in education, graduated from NC State with a degree in education, and also got a master's degree in business administration from UNC Wilmington. So I've always been an Eastern North Carolina person, and born and bred here, and look forward to sharing some things with those who are watching today.
Todd, I learn something new every day. So I've heard about mission trips. I know about your passion for insurance and helping families. I had no idea you used to be a math teacher and work through education. So I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get your start in real estate? Oh, I'm sorry. I must be.
Insurance.
I think I'm getting ready to move you towards real estate. But how did
Yeah.
you get your start in insurance?
So when I was a school teacher, we started a family, and I was putting in tremendous hours as a coach as well, 70, 80 hours a week, and got to the end of the month and looked at the paycheck, and I was like, trying to raise a family, there's got to be a little more income potential out there that I'm not tapping into. I just got my master's in business administration, so I knew I was not going to be in education for a career. So I did some research, talked to some family friends that I knew, and the next thing I know, I'm having an interview with a gentleman named Willis Lamb, who was formerly sales director with Farm Bureau Insurance for North Carolina, and the rest is history. I got a position as an agent in Greenville, North Carolina, was there for about 4 years, and then moved over to the Nightdale agency and have been there ever since.
Wow, that is interesting, admirable, and I love your path. And tell me what it means to you to see families insured and taken care of. I know we've had a lot of conversations just kind of off the cuff, and we talk about, and Dwayne and I, we believe in generational wealth. I believe there's so much more than money, but leaving your family with a legacy to carry on and continue and not leave in generational distress. So, what does it mean to you to help these families get insured and make sure that they're covered?
Thanks for the question. So I think we can all appreciate those moments that we're have some time and we're scrolling through Facebook, and we come across this Facebook post that's a GoFundMe page. And it just brings home the case that there are families out there, unfortunately, who, don't have a plan if the unexpected does happen. And that is unfortunate when that does occur. But part of my role in what I do is I try to get out in front of that and make that a part of the person's and family's planning way before it becomes a case of a need. Let's face it, we all don't want to admit this, but we're all going to die one day. We're going to leave this earth, and whether that's when somebody's 23 or whether that's somebody's 83, it's going to happen. And what we like to do in kind of a risk management mindset is to prepare families if the unexpected happens early in life, so that, if that occurs and you've got dependents with a spouse or children involved, that we know that you know, we are going to take care of the financial side. We can never replace the emotional and the spiritual side of that person, but we can take care of the financial need of that family just by having a policy in place. And what I have found in conversations with numerous clients and members I have insured is they always think it's way too expensive until they investigate it. And what they find is like, oh my gosh, it's, $1 a day or, $2 a day will insure my family to replace my income for 15, 20 years of income replacement. So, that alone is what I work for every day, is to help people see that need and then take action on it. That's the other half that doesn't happen. People will talk about it and they'll think about it, but they just don't take action on it. And my hope is in my conversation, I push them towards taking action.
Yeah. Todd, I love what you're saying, and that taking action. What I can say firsthand is you've helped us to really shift our mindset around it. So, Dwayne and I started out, coverage for us and making sure that we were insured in the case that something happened. You talked to us about the rider part of the coverage to make sure that if something happened to our children, which would be very unfortunate, and we never planned for that to occur. I love baby Gabby, right? So
Oh
it's
yeah.
now another part of the generation, and talk to us about getting policies in place for her very, very early that she could leverage, as she
Mm.
becomes a young adult, which then causes us to start having these conversations with our children to make sure that as they venture out, that they have insurance policies really, really early they can maintain. So with that, I'm going to segue, Kiana, as a young adult, do you have questions around life insurance policy coverage and any advice that he could give you in younger generations that are in your place?
Sure. So my question for you would be, how old should someone be, or how young should they be before they invest in a life insurance policy?
Great question. It's one of those things where I always want to take care of the parents first because they're the primary breadwinners of the family. And if they are not in place and their income is not being generated, then the family as a whole is going to, suffer. And so that's my A1 number priority, is to get the parents taken care of. From that point, we can start as young as unborn children, believe it or not. We can put a rider on policies for unborn children. And what it does, at least our policy with Farm Bureau, it when the child lives to be, if it's unborn, and then the family gets pregnant, has a child, if they live 15 days, then that child is automatically covered on that rider for up to 26 years. Now, that is term insurance, so it gives them some temporary coverage. But with our policies, what we can do is we can do what's called a conversion to a permanent whole life policy that they can actually take from uh, the age of 26 all the way to the rest of their life, with a conversion up to 5 times the amount of our base coverage, which for us is 20,000. And then if they want more coverage to last them till their adulthood, they can get up to 100,000 of whole life coverage from that child rider. So to answer your question, we can cover children as early as unborn. um, but life insurance rates are based on age. So obviously, the younger you get started, the less expensive it'll be. I work with a lot of parents, a lot of grandparents, to get policies on children at a young age, because over the course of their life, they're going to pay a lot less for that policy than if they wait till they're older.
Yeah. Todd, as you were talking, I was just thinking through like real life glimpse experiences, and Kiana's niece, my granddaughter, when she was born, we prepared ahead of time and we put policy in place for baby and mom, and we went into it with the mindset that we want to make sure that we get coverage as early as possible for Gabby. It will be very affordable, the least expensive at this point, and that is the only thing that I thought about. And I remember having to call you to say, Todd, oh my goodness, we have a scare with Gabby, and they're telling us she's not going to make it. And life began to flash by my eyes, and I was like, I never even thought that we would experience anything to this extent. We're happy that Gabby's here. She's doing well. She's 4.5 months old, but I never thought I would be faced with that situation. And so it
Yes.
really um, put an additional burden on my heart to make sure that as we talk about wealth and wealth generation, making sure that we bring people, trusted people like you in to build a foundation and say, before you can invest, before you start talking about assets, let's talk about the coverage of what you do have and how you set your family up for success. And I really want to thank you for that.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. Yeah, I enjoy watching Facebook posts when they pop up and see her growing and smiles and giggles, and it's a good thing. You know, like you said, we try to cover them from the cradle to the grave. And the unfortunate thing about life is we don't know when that second half is coming. Unfortunately, I've had family members who've had children to pass at the age of 6 from leukemia and different things like that. And those are life challenges that none of us like to face. But we are in a industry where we can help at least protect the financial implications of that. We can never, get too involved with the emotional or the, spiritual side of that loss, but we can take the financial burden away.
Absolutely. Kiana, as you listen to this story, what does this make you think about, or just the interview as a whole about being protected and making sure that you have coverage? Does it change the way that you to view things as you go on to your life venture?
I think it just makes me realize how important it is because, like you said, it's the unexpected. So you don't really plan for it, or you don't really think that it could happen to you. But you don't want to be in the situation where if it does, you're not prepared, or you don't have anywhere to go, or you have that financial burden on top of all of the other burdens that you're facing with that loss.
That's an excellent point. One thing that I will say, and I know the Venables well enough to know that they understand how heartfelt I will say this, but in trueness, life insurance is a purchase of love. It really is. Because if you love someone else and you care for them, you don't want them to go through the struggles that they would go through if you're no longer there. And so when it comes to being a parent, I feel like it's the ultimate responsibility of a mother or father raising children that they are financially protecting themselves, not just with a life insurance policy that maybe they can pick up through their employer, because the employer, unfortunately, is going to be so much red tape and so many hoops to get that processed. And a lot of times it could take 6 to 8 months for a company to release death benefits from company employee life insurance. I've seen many cases where the family has to go 6, 8 months, or even a year before the company actually pays out that death claim. Where our policy, we can get a check to a client as long as we got the verification of death certificate within just 48 hours. So that's where our policies really make a difference, and my relationship with our clients makes a difference because all they got to do is pick up the phone, send me an email, text me, and I respond as quick, more quickly than they are prepared for me to respond.
Todd, you must be reading my mind over here, or my invisible notes on a question that I was going to ask you. And it's two things that I want to explore. So Dwayne and I, we still have our 9 to 5s. We are blessed, fortunate, and we love what we do in that regard. And you hit on something because I was going to ask you the difference between, or advice you would give individuals who have insurance coverage through their jobs and through their companies and may say, I don't need an additional policy. So I want to explore that a little bit more first, and then I want to get on to the business side of things. But
Sure.
for individuals who have those policies, that's one of the things that you said. It may be a little bit longer for finances, monies, coverage to be released. And then also, unfortunately, we live in a world where one day you may be employed and the next day you're not, and you don't have that same coverage. So, do you have any other advice that you can give individuals that think just that job coverage is enough?
Yes, I really appreciate that. I will say that the most inexpensive way for you to insure yourself for life insurance is through term life. And that's usually what the employer provides is term life. Now, most employers kind of um, restrict their amount of coverage to 2 to 3 times your salary. So whatever your salary is with them, they kind of do the math and they come up 2 to 3 times annual salary. Well, if you've got a 3 or 4 or 5 year old and you've got to raise them without that other income, now we're talking about getting them through high school and college, maybe 18, 20 years. So that 2 to 3 years of company is going to run out very quickly. Um, and you may even have additional expenses that are not day to day expenses that you would still have to pull out of that death benefit. So it's great to have the company benefit of life insurance, but it's not enough. And so what we do is we come in behind and get you a policy you own yourself that will get you to that 10, 15, 20 years of income replacement that will, take you till raising the rest of your children's lives.
I like that. And yeah, it's definitely not enough. We need to make sure we have it. And I love the way you walk through with us. We have a relationship, so it's not a transaction. And you help us as we are venturing out and we're doing more to ensure that we have enough and adequate coverage if one or both of us happen to leave. And we want to make sure that our family is protected. Now, there's another side of it. So, Dwayne and I started real estate investing, and you've been able to kind of walk along that journey with us as well to make sure that we're protected and covered. For individuals who are kind of dual entrepreneur and work, or just sole entrepreneurship, what advice would you give them? Because what I'm recognizing, especially for entrepreneurs just starting out, we don't run our business as if we are the owners and the CEOs of our business. Most of the time we are working, we're doing. But if you take a step back, how would a CEO set up their company? How would they make sure that their assets are protected? And how would they make sure that if something happened to them today, that legacy could continue on? So talk to us about
Sure. So one of the things that you and I off camera have commented about is the idea of a buy sell agreement in the business world, and generally that comes into play when you've got someone who has partnered with someone else because of the financial needs to start that business. That maybe, just for example, if you've got a partnership that you work together to buy properties and remodel. And flip those houses or whatever you're doing, and you're tying up finances from two or more individuals. Well, let's say for example you have committed to, and I'm just going to throw out a number, let's say $500,000 in your purchase of homes and different things, and you've got assets that are exposed with that as a partnership. Well, unless you really really love that partnership's family, then you may end up, if something happens to them, you may have to go into business with their family because they are going to take over their share of that business if they pass away. And so, what we do is we work with the client themselves, we work with an attorney because a buy sell agreement is a legal document. But what we do is we provide the life insurance piece to a buy sell agreement, which says that if you have a partner and that partner passes away, so that you don't have to bring their family into the business, The life insurance policy reacts as the buyout to that family for that share of that individual's part of your business. And so what ends up happening is they get the proceeds from the life insurance for their value of the business percentage, and then you then retain the entire business, and you can continue working to build that empire, so to speak.
Wow. Todd, I love you are a wealth of knowledge. And every time that we speak, you expose me to something new, a product, a service, even an idea that's already been out there, and you equip us just to be even more covered and insured in what we do. Are there any other services, products, or benefits that Farm Bureau offers for individuals
Yeah.
or business owners?
Sure. Thanks for asking. So, our specialty is the basics of home insurance, auto insurance, life insurance. Those are the three wheels or three spokes of the wheel that we spend the most. We help people in their personal homeowners, but obviously, if they've got a boat, if they've got jewelry, if they've got even a little small landscape business where they need insurance for their landscape business, or kind of a mom and pop type uh, commercial business, then we help them with that. I think Farm Bureau for an agent, I think it's the last time I remember looking at it was like 57 lines of business products that we offer. And, we are individual focused insurance agents. We try to take care of the individual household and supply them with all of the insurance needs they have. We have access to just about any product that needs to protect the family's assets.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Kiana, do you have any other questions for Mr. Todd before I ask one last question or
No,
any comments?
this is very helpful. So this is good information. So thank you for that. You can ask your question.
Thank you.
All right. So my question, how can people get in contact with you?
Well, I am very visible on social media. I've got Instagram. The easiest way to find me is Facebook. Just look up Todd Faulkner Insurance, Farm Bureau Insurance on Facebook. I do have a company website that's linked to www.ncfbins.com. Just search for my name, Todd Faulkner, as an agent, and it gives you all of the links. Cell phone, texting, email. I do all those forms of communication. So, or you can just call Sean and she'll give you my number.
I definitely will. Todd, thank you so much. Thank you all for tuning in. Todd, again, a wealth of knowledge, an amazing, incredible, and trusted resource. And Todd, we are definitely going to have to bring you back for some more conversations. I
Sure.
can even see, bringing some people together to have some conversations. And we need to see you in November as well for the Wealth Conference. So I'm excited about all that we have going on. Again, the continued partnership that you helped me and many of my family members with. And I'm hoping and praying that more people will take advantage of the resources because it is a gift of love.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, we have a tradition. She's doing it early, y'all.
Oh.
We're gonna wave off. Again, thank you, Todd. We'll make sure that we share your information out. Bye.
Thank you. Have a great day.